It's time to start. Let's load in. Oh, it's time to act like Val and be scared. Oh, wait, hold on. I could hear the eerie sound of wind and rain. Once again, I hastily regained consciousness on top of the bed. The finger that the witch had bitten off was attached to my hand. That's not to say that it was all an illusion, but my finger was now attached. After all, the pain, the teeth marks as though the witch had bitten it were still there. And yet the window, which I had supposedly smashed, had been fixed as though it had never been broken in the first place. How can I escape from this creepy room? Why am I locked up in this eerie room all alone? I want to get out. I have to get out. Please let me out. The door was sealed with a firm chain. I could open it a crack, but only enough to peek out into the corridor at best. Even getting out just a fist through it would probably be hard. The window probably wouldn't budge either. It was no better than a barred prison window. The bathroom didn't even have a window. The only thing that could get out of there was that wire that flowed out if you turned on the tap. No matter what I do, I can't think of a way out of here. While shut up in a place like this, I truly am a prisoner. Unless someone comes out from outside to save me, I won't be able to get out for all eternity. In that case, can I just call for help? Yes, the tiny gap I can make in that door must exist so I can call for help. But can I make the words come out? Earlier I tried to call out for help, but for some reason the words couldn't escape my mouth. Maybe I was just confused. I might have lost my voice in my haste and confusion. I'll open the door and make that crack appear one more time. The warm light of the hallway flowed in, making the darkness of the room stand out all the more. Though I couldn't hear any voices, I did feel something peaceful. I'm sure everyone's in the room at the other end of the hallway, happily chatting about something. If I can just call out, surely someone will come to save me. Holding back some indescribable fear, I tried yelling once more. But the result was the same. It was like trying to yell underwater. All I did was get out of breath, unable to call out in the slightest. Even though I could say as much as I wanted, I grumbled to myself inside the room. Whenever I tried to make my voice reach outside, I choked and I was unable to say anything. I understand. My body isn't the only thing locked up in this eerie closed room. My voice is too. Thinking that I could use some kind of sound to call for help, I tried opening and closing the door violently, making the chain rattle. It does sound as though it's clinking noisily, but it's surely no good. Even this sound is being locked inside this closed room. No matter how harsh a sound I could make, I'm sure it'll be quieter than a leaf falling by the time it reaches the other end of the corridor. I tried using the hateful chain that sealed the door to make a sound and call for someone, but that only deepened my despair. This chain? That's insane. Just a second ago, it was a stiff chain that looked like it might be able to seal a monster away, but at some point it had transformed into a normal chain lock. This changes everything. Now I can just undo it from the inside. I tried to undo it, but that chain wasn't long enough for that. While the door crack was still open, I couldn't get it off, obviously. Calm down. I gulped and I calmly closed the door, and then I saw that the chain had slackened enough. I touched it with my finger to make sure. When I was little, I hated chains because I could never get them undone right. However, that was a long time ago. I can now undo something like this. Anyone could. It's easy. I imagined the demon who locked me in this room using this as a trap to give me hope, just to give me despair even more. But I pushed those thoughts aside for the time being. I undid the chain lock, and the chain dangled right there before my eyes. Now, there's no lock sealing this door. Please, don't torment me anymore. Just open normally. Slowly the door opened. When I closed the door to undo the chain, the warm light from the hallway got cut off. If I open it again, what if that warm light is gone this time? I was even afraid of stuff like that. However, that was just me over-imagining things. Slowly. Quickly. No, I guess this is normal for a door. As the door let out an annoying creak, the exit from this cursed closed room finally opened. I did it! Even my cry of joy was strangled. But that doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is that I can get out! I poked my head out, and I looked left and right down the corridor. The warm corridor. I could sense people having fun at the other end. Everyone's right there. Let's go right now. At that moment, something cold and heartless crushed my throat. It was as though an iron loop had been fastened around my neck and pulled on hard from behind. No, not as though. Without my knowing. At some point, a thick metal collar had been fastened around my neck. When did this happen? When I turned around, I despaired even more. From the inside of the door I had just opened, a thick chain had extended and attached itself to this collar I was wearing. I pulled on it. It didn't even budge. When I shook it, the whole door creaked. What? The hell? The chain that connected to my collar was attached to the inner side of the door. Yes, the same vanishing chain that secured the door for a short while back had suddenly become a chain holding me in place. That's insane. That's insane! Damn it, what's going on here? I pulled with all my strength, trying to tear the whole door off, but I already knew from the repeated experiments I wouldn't even budge. I'm sure this chain will disappear once I go back inside the room, but it'll never let me leave that room. Though I had apparently turned back into a normal chain lock, nothing had actually changed. The chain lock still bound me to that room. Tears flowing down my face, I pulled with all I had. It was completely useless. No matter what I did, I'd never tear it loose. And I wasn't even permitted to call out for help. I let out confused anger at how the demon had mercilessly made me think that I had escaped for just an instant. But no matter how much I yelled, no voice came out, and no one on the other end of the door would hear me. Then I noticed an odd stain on the wall of the corridor. It wasn't a stain. They were letters traced out by a finger that had been covered in red paint. Those letters, which looked like they were drawn in blood, answered my biggest question. The chain lock must be set. You're allowed to unset it, but it must be reset. Unless it is set, this exit of yours will be unusable. I instantly understood the meaning of that ominous message. I tried it out and understood completely. I returned to the room and reset the chain lock. The collar around my neck disappeared. When I undid the chain lock again, that heavy feeling around my neck returned. In other words, I cannot leave this room while the chain lock is still unset. In that case, why don't I just set the chain while outside the room? I undid the chain one more time. The collar and chain appeared around my neck again. I stepped out in the corridor and closed the door behind me, leaving only the slightest of cracks. I stuck my hand through that crack and grabbed the dangling chain and tried to reset it somehow. Damn it! Even though it was so easy to do from inside, why? Is it so hard to do it from outside? The gap needed to be wide enough if I wanted to manipulate the chain well. However, that made the chain too short to reach. To make the chain reach just a little bit further, I have to close the door a little bit more. But if I do that, there won't even be enough of a gap to fit my hand in. Of course, that was perfectly natural. Chain locks are made to be used from the inside. They'd be completely pointless if you could set and unset them from the outside. That's why the length of the chain is especially chosen to prevent anyone from setting or unsetting it from the outside. Then, can I use some kind of hard and thin tool? If the gap of the doors is just a finger's width across, that's more than enough for the chain to reach. If I could just bend a wire hanger so it fits through the crack and work the chain with that. That's right. There's a closet just to the side of the door. Could there be some hangers in there? Found one! Oh, thank God! A single cheap-looking hanger like the one you might find in a laundry room was still hanging there. Really? I'm pretty sure that was when I was last looked a short while ago. Nothing like this was in the closet. Ah, who cares? Quickly, quickly, quickly! I twisted the wire hanger, bending the end with the tip around. I formed a loop at the end to grab things with, making it for a short sort of burglar's tool. I dashed out into the corridor again, closed the door almost as far as it could go. My wrist would never pass through this. However, if I close it this much, the chain should have an extra length to spare. And this crack is large enough for me to stick the hanger through. Now it's just a matter of technique. If I keep trying, I'll definitely be able to do it eventually. I'm certain of it! It's harder than it looks, but the chain is long enough. It isn't impossible. I'd finally got my hands on one way to escape. It was hard, yes, but theoretically it was possible. If it's possible, I'll be able to get out. I'll be able to escape from here. At that moment, I felt a heavy weight on the far side of the door. It felt as though someone inside the room had pressed their forehead against the door and was drawing closer, and she, the witch, had laughed. Then I felt a powerful and strange force on the wire hanger. Is she trying to grab it away from me? Yeah, right, like hell I let go! Like hell I let my one key out of here get stolen when my guard's down! Fortunately, I stuck my wrist through so I wouldn't drop it if my hand got tired. You won't be able to snatch it out of my hands. The witch on the other side of the door laughed at me. Then I noticed something weird. I looked at my left hand, which I had pressed against the door to hold it in place, and between the fingers of that hand, I could see something red. They were red letters. I realized immediately, at some point in time, even more bloody letters had been drawn on the door. My left hand had been covering them up. Still fighting against the vice-like strength of the witch beyond the door, I moved my left hand to the side. Where the hand had been, bloody letters had indeed been drawn. And there, as though someone had predicted that I'd struggled this way from the very beginning, was a message from the witch to me. It is impossible to set or unset the chain lock from the outside by any means. All tricks done from the corridor had to be sealed by the red letters. No way! There was a suddenly terrible sound. The force pulling on the hanger suddenly released. Then when I pulled it out, it looked and lost all hope, as though I had been hit by the acid of the room's darkness. The tips of the hanger had burnt and bubbled and melted off. Now it's pitifully short. This can't be used for anything! It'd be useless to search for a substitute. All schemes to set the chain from the outside have been prevented. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I threw the remnants of the wire hanger against the floor, faced the hallway and filled with alarm light, and called for help. However, I just choked, unable to speak at all. Everyone's just down the corridor, and everything's peaceful there. I can't hear their voices, but I know. I'm sure they're all having a good time playing cards. Please, someone notice! Someone save me! This time it wasn't the witch's voice. It was oh wait, sorry. This time it wasn't the witch's voice. It was the happy voices of everyone else, which I could hear coming from the other end of the hallway. Someone come over here and save me! Uh-oh. Sorry, but I'm out! George slammed his last card down, ending the game with his victory once again. Everyone gasped in unison. The cousin room was filled with laughter as they enjoyed their card game. Whoa! So you really did have it, George! Damn you! Damn you, 6 of spades! Your 8 of diamonds was pretty nasty too, Valor. I was so close! You're incredible, George! You won again! Yep, looks like we've won again. Monica couldn't really hold her own in an all-out battle, so she had teamed up with George, which is why she was celebrating his victory. Utter defeat. Canon wins and let his cards drop to the table. The game of sevens between Kano and the cousins had been a fierce battle. Normally they would take things easy since Mario was there, so this sort of game was rare. Kana had started taking the game seriously, unwilling to lose, so George and Ballard had responded, and the battle had grown fierce. Unlike Ballard, who was carefree enough to enjoy it whenever he won or lost, Kanon's mood changed drastically with every victory and defeat. It was less of a dislike for losing, and more that he just wasn't used to playing. He wasn't used to trading a few wins and losses with his opponents, so he took even losses within a game seriously. Since he had resolved to win and had fortunately challenged veteran players George and Ballard, the result was plain to see. As Kano slumped his shoulders, Jessica slapped him on the back. Hey, you almost had it! I love fighting all out like this! Whether you go all out or not, if you just lose in the end, it's all pointless. That's not true! If you really give your all, there's no reason to get all depressed when you lose. If you lose after hardly trying, then you'd be grumbling and complaining about how you would have won if you'd taken it seriously, right? That's right. People who really give it their all never complain. They're always cheering no matter what the result is. You're right. And they can be scarier than anyone else. They always learn something from their experience and grow. Very true. I was a coward, so I could never learn anything. I see that I'm still immature. I am furniture, so any dreams I might have are pointless. Because he rigidly believed that, he distanced himself from everything, shutting himself away. However, during that same time, Shanna had undergone many life adventures, and now her hand was resting on the door separating furniture and humans. The old Kano would have only seen this card game as a way to pass the time. However, the new Kano was now capable of gaining something new from this experience. That's probably what it means to grow. Furniture does nothing but rot with the passage of time. The ability to grow is a privilege given only to humans. Thanks for playing with us. You probably had work to do, like filling in the log, right? I'm really glad you decided to hang out with us. Don't worry about it. I had a lot of fun too. Or should I say that I realize this sort of thing is fun. Thanks for pushing so hard for me to come. Let's challenge ourselves more and more. And let's go find more and more things you didn't know about. Oh, by the way, about what we were talking about earlier? Ever wanted to try playing guitar? Well, I don't want to force you or anything, but... Oops, my bad. What the fuck? Okay. It must be very difficult. Yeah, I guess, but I'll do a good job teaching you, and I'll even practice with you. Well, I guess I'm not that much of an expert myself. At first, Kano was scared that he might make a complete fool of himself if he touched a musical instrument for the first time in his life. After all, he knew that screwing up like that would make him feel bad. However, Kano was starting to learn. It's only natural I'd be bad when I first start. If I try to run away from it, I'll never learn a thing for all eternity. I'll never achieve anything. That's right! Isn't that why people love it when they feel themselves improving? Even I sucked at making my left and right hands move at the same time when I first started. But I slowly got the knack of it and started to feel more and more natural. I like to reach that level too. If one path to the goal is playing music with you, milady, I'd love to do that with you. Really? Yes. I'm sure I'll be horrible when I start. I might even make you lose hope in me at times. But if I give it my all, even messing up is no big deal. That's why I learned from you all this just now. You're embarrassing me. I love you more than ever, milady, because I averted my eyes for so long, even though you shone like the sun. I never noticed when you were right there next to me. Then I'd better work even harder to make you love me even more. Kanon's serious and competitive words were more than enough to make Jessica shy. However, Kanon's expression unexpectedly clouded. "Milady, the reason I love you is so clear. Because of that, I can't bear not knowing." Not knowing what? "Why did you start to like me? Unlike you, I don't shine in any sense. Even now I'm just clinging to your back as you shine the way. I can't think of any reason why you would love someone as shabby as me." That's not true, okay? There are all kinds of good things about you, Kanon. Let me swallow my pride and ask, what about me make you like me, milady? Kanon hung his head. Since he had never learned anything on his own, he'd never been able to take the initiative with her in any way. The fact that he was accepting her affection one-sidedly, unable to do anything but simply receive it, made him sad and frustrated at himself. Jessica was at a loss for words. After all, compared to the reason that Kanon had started to love Jessica, Jessica's reason was a lot more vague. She had heard Shannon talking about her love with George, and at school, she and her friends had always talked about relationships with boys. There had always been nothing but strange about a girl fascinated by the idea of romance developing an interest in a nearby member of the opposite sex. However you put that into words, it might be misinterpreted to mean that any nearby boy would have just done as well. However, she could still be proud of the feelings she felt this very instant. She really did love Kanon, and she truly wanted to experience romance. As a result, they might end up together or they might not. However, if she reached that result without holding back, she could accept it no matter which it was. That's why she was unable to become serious and honest about how she felt. That's why she was able to become serious and honest about how she felt. However, she couldn't find the right words to tell Kanon this. When Kanon saw Jessica bite her lower lip in frustration, he finally realized. I'm such a fool. Huh? What about me do you like? That very question is foolish. It's proof that I'm not serious about myself and that I haven't been able to understand even myself. It's horrible of me to try to make you say it for me. That's not true. After all, it's the first question any girl would like to ask after being given a love confession. What part of me do you like? It was immature of me to ask you that. How could anyone love someone so immature? Wait, that's not... Jessica panicked, trying desperately to explain how she felt. However, Kanon was calm, and then he spoke. In that case, I want you to love me. The way I already love you. I've decided to start changing myself so that can happen. I can hardly imagine that you would love me as I am. But someday, no matter what. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure you'll become a wonderful person, Kanon. A guy so cool that I can't keep my eyes off you. Until then, I'll stick by you all the way. We'll have plenty of time. But unfortunately, there isn't that much time left. What do you mean? It usually saddens you when I talk about furniture. However, this is something I must tell you. It's also something I must fight for with all my soul. What are you talking about? I don't want to hear any more of that I'm furniture, so I can't fall in love talk. You're a human, not furniture! Yes, I would love to become... Yes, I would like to become human. However, I am still furniture. In that case, just do it! Become human! The witch taught me once about the single element of this world. According to her, it's love. It's something that humans born into this world can take for granted. However, it is not something that those not from this world who were born as furniture can take for granted. In order to gain it for themselves, they must have magic or a miracle. In just the same way that Nason and George would never have ended up as they have without borrowing the power of that golden butterfly brooch. I don't really get that last part. What don't you understand? Let me hear it. Since this game began, a large portion of the time had been spent on Shadow and Kanon's determination to fall in love. I've got no problem interpreting that as a story of growth and teenage determination for a boy and girl who call themselves furniture. But one of the assumptions they make feels really out of place to me. Why is magic necessary? Is that it? Both Shannon and Canon call themselves furniture. They've always claimed that there can't be love between furniture and humans. At that point, the magic of the golden butterfly brooch comes into play, and as the miraculous result of this magic, love is established between Shannon and George. That's what they claim. Might it mean merely that forbidden love between people of different classes would be unimaginable without the miracle of magic? True. I accept that Shannon and Canon, who are servants from forbidden love with members of the family and suffering for it, might debase themselves by calling themselves furniture. Then what is it that you cannot accept? Without borrowing the power of magic once more, marriage will become impossible. That seems to be a common understanding between Shannon and Canon. I just can't understand that part. After meeting in secret for quite some time, George and Shannon had finally gotten engaged. Both were fully prepared for it emotionally, and though there would be some trouble with relatives, it would probably be impossible for anyone to prevent their marriage by this point. Trying to stand between two who wish to be wed is as foolish as standing in front of an arrow and trying to catch it. Exactly. Now that George has sworn to protect his lover for the rest of their lives, he's no need to fear opposition and disinheritance from his parents. On the contrary, you might even consider that perfect test of his love for her. In other words, they will be married no matter what. No one can stop them. And as they've both consented to the engagement, no one can stop them or impede them. Trying to break apart lovers is a foolhardy venture. Yeah, and that's what's strange. There's no need for magic. If George and Shannon had wanted Ava's approval for their engagement, then magic might have really been necessary. After all, Ava forbid his relationship with her. No matter how much George spoke on Shannon's behalf, the chances of Ava being convinced were very near zero. If that were the case, it would be understandable if they wanted a magical miracle to make Ava acknowledge that engagement. Meow, meow, meow. Just let me I have a couple of things. Alright. However, George has already made an oath. He doesn't care whether his parents approve of the engagement or not. Yeah, there's nothing standing in the way of their engagement, and Shannon should know that well herself. So why is it now that on this night where the proposal went so smoothly, she's still praying for a miracle of magic? I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell happened to my mouth there. According to the furniture, she won't even have the right to marry without such a miracle. And there you go. It means that Shannon has accepted George's proposal, but she knows that there's still some kind of barrier that can't be overcome without a magical miracle. And that barrier isn't something that they can overcome by their own efforts. That's why they need this miracle called magic. Why do they need magic? If two people love each other, what miracle could they possibly need to be together? I see. Feathering listened to Angie's interpretation, smiling in a satisfied way. Apparently, she'd already reached that conclusion and enjoyed watching Angie finally manage to do the same. And that same question applies to Canon as well. The love between him and Jessica has just begun, but their emotions are pure. There's nothing standing in their way. They're already in a loving relationship, even without the golden butterfly brooch. The relationship they started might easily last for years, eventually resulting in marriage. There's nothing standing in their way either. As long as they don't seek approval from Kraus and Natsuhi, it seems that they will not need a magical miracle either. Exactly. Canon watched how Shannon lived and changed his own way of life. Then he let his true feelings be known and started a relationship with Jessica. There's no need for magic anymore. If it were a one-sided love, he might have needed a love charm or something, but their feelings are already mutual. They already communicate their intentions to one another. So why do they still need a magical miracle? Both furniture were in relationships of mutual love. There shouldn't have been any need for a miracle any longer. So why? Do they still desire some miracle? And on top of that, the single brooch was portrayed as bestowing only a single miracle. It felt almost as though Shannon was hesitating at first, because if she used up that miracle for herself, Cannon's chances at love would be automatically sealed away for eternity. So this is the question. Why is furniture not allowed to love? So you ask why love will not be permitted without the miracle known as magic. And also, though the furniture laments with such certainty that they are unable to love, this golden butterfly brooch is supposed to give them permission to do it. Just why on earth is it? Of course, it is a crystallization of magic. However, like most magics, it can be burned by the anti-magic toxin. So it can only have the effect for those who believe in magic and witches. Correct. So Shannon, who was capable of interacting with me, was able to make use of its benefits. However, Shannon had dropped it on the sandy beach and someone who knew nothing picked it up. That person was shrouded in anti-magic toxin. They wouldn't be able to make use of the brooch's magical power. Precisely. A witch's magical items often lose their power if they're not handed over directly. However, just as how a witch can manifest herself if the witch's existence is acknowledged by a great many humans, and the anti-magic toxin disappears, the power of that magical item can also be preserved if it is believed in by a great many humans. That's ironic. No matter what kind of magic we witches give out, everything depends on whether the human we give it to can accept it. I have heard the same goes for medicine. Even with the exact same medicine, humans who know of the medicine's effect experience it to a greater degree. Oh, I think I understand. When taking cold medicine, I've gotten the feeling it's more effective when you read the description on the bottle. As she listened, Veda thought the magic sounded a bit like a ritual. When most humans think of magic, they think of incredible miracles being performed one after another in front of a crowd of other humans. However, this true magic that the older sister spoke of sounded almost like a ritual, something that has no effect if the person using it doesn't believe. Shannon's heart was captured by George bit by bit as he grew by leaps and bounds. However, she had given up thinking that one of a different class such as herself would never find love with him. That was when Beatrice had given her the golden butterfly brooch and encouraged her. Giving up means that you've got zero chances of success. However, if the power of magic makes you think that there might be some chance of your wish coming true, then the odds of it happening are at least greater than zero. Zero remains zero forever, so miracle is a fitting word to describe even a faint chance coming into existence. Humans can use magic to defeat resignation, the process by which they themselves make their probability of success of zero. When a human refuses to give up, though their chances of success may be small, those chances do exist. And the more determined they become, the greater those odds rise. It was easy to imagine Shannon making earnest wishes upon that brooch, believing in its effect, and trying little things over and over and over again to get George to like her. The power of belief becomes magic. And those who make others believe are witches. Those who make others believe are witches. That's an interesting way to put it. If you think about it, it's true. Let's say a witch steps out into the spotlight and waves her wand in front of a crowd of onlookers and makes a rabbit appear out of thin air. Then many people who see it will surely assume it to be a sleight of hand. They might wonder how it was accomplished, but they surely will say that it couldn't have been real magic. And when they applaud, it will be for a splendid trick that only appeared to be magic. But what if? What if someone performed a sacred ceremony inside a great ancient temple in front of a crowd of believers and ended up with the exact same result? Would any of the people think there that that was a sleight of hand? In fact, in the ancient past, when magic tricks or a form of entertainment didn't even exist and divine spirits were worshipped, this would have doubtlessly have been a miracle of magic. In that case, could this here be... Magic?
Well, now, what would be the first spell performed by the witch unable to use magic?
Here, I have an empty teacup. There's nothing inside it.
Yes, it is empty. And then...
You take it, and turn it like this, and place it upside down on the table.
And then what's next?
Let us both close our eyes and chant the incantation. It was the same magic that had been used to give Maria candies. Beato the elder grinned and closed her eyes. When she saw this, Beato slowly chanted the incantation. Come, try to remember what was inside the cup.
Indeed. Come, try to remember what was inside the cup.
As she chanted, Beata slowly opened her eyes and made sure the older sister was repeating with her eyes closed. A single gold butterfly appeared out of nowhere, flared down to the overturned cup, and scattered away in a golden splash.
May I open my eyes now?
Yes. Please open your eyes and inspect the contents of the cup.
Well now, let's see how your first bit of magic was performed.
Taking her time and dragging out the suspense a little, the older sister lifted up the cup.
Uh-huh.
How is it? The cup was lifted up. There lay a single golden rose petal. Does this count as magic?
Yes, it does. You used magic to create a golden flower petal inside the overturned cup. It was a splendid bit of magic.
Oh, golden truth. Without love, it cannot be seen. That much I understand. It may be viewed as a trick. It may also be believed to be magic. It all depends on the toxin of the individual. Then again, while this can explain some of the magic that's been used in the past, it can't explain everything. To go back to the point, all this stuff about believing in magic and rituals, it doesn't answer the question, what was this golden butterfly brooch, and which allowed the forager who strongly believed that they could not love to finally find love? If we blindly accept the story of those two Beatos as true, might we assume that magic had the power to cancel out their feelings of resignation? Why mustn't furniture fall in love? Why is the power of that magic brooch necessary? Yes, it does seem at a glance as though what you and the Beatos are saying provides an answer, though a vague one. However, let me say this as a reader. I can't accept this as how you presented it. You cannot accept it, you say. The tragedy of those furniture are struggling to resist is way too big to be explained away by that. I doubt they could reform their way of thinking just because they were given some charm for making relationships. It's true that the brooch that Shannon... Wait. My bad. It's true the brooch gave Shannon the chance that she needed to get together with George, but sometime after that, she said she wanted to deepen their relationship without borrowing the power of magic. She even tried to give back the brooch back to Beato. At that point, she supposedly rejected the miracle of magic for a time. So why would that power be necessary again? Well now, perhaps there is no way to say it except that love and marriage are very different things. Feathering laughed lightly. She'd probably formed a theory if her own was laughing at Angie, who hadn't reached it yet. Let me hear it. What's your view? I'd like to keep that for myself for just a while longer. And of course, watching you perform doubts and let your mind race is one of the joys of being read aloud to. If I gave you my views, you would accept them and stop thinking. Then, having you read aloud would be no fun. Then, having you read out loud would be no fun. So you're having me read a mystery novel you already know the answer to, just so that you can enjoy watching me blunder about. Well, I am the witch of theater going. If you wish to laugh at my bad taste, please do not hold back, my Miko. Wah ha 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 ha. I understand that part of magic is created by a believing heart, and that magic probably permeates deep into the world of us humans as well. However, though it permeates so far, the power dwells within the magic that's small. Lots of people visit shrines to pray for success on tests. However, people rarely credit such visit as a reason for their success. By itself, praying does a little more than give one a peace of mind. In love, there's even a small chance and a little bit of courage that can result in major changes. This power can sometimes bring about an incredible transformation. However, something like that would really be enough. Would something like that really be enough to change the insurmountable fate of furniture? In the past, when Shannon and George were brought together, I imagined the brooch's magical power functions as little more than a ritualistic charm. However, by now, the magical power that furniture seek from that brooch, it's not as something as vague as a ritual. It feels much stronger, like a whole different interpretation of magic. If you believe in a sleight of hand, it becomes magic. But that's no more than a child's trick. That only explains one part of magic. They are hoping for something. They're hoping for something with much, much more power. For true magic, not a sleight of hand. So then, just what kind of magic is the furniture expecting from that brooch? A golden butterfly brooch? There exists a magic charm that the golden witch Beatrice gave to Shannon in exchange for smashing a mirror, and which made her love bear fruit. That's what this is. From his pocket, Cam pulled out a single wing from the golden butterfly. It was a single wing. It was easy to tell from its shape that it had originally been part of something of the butterfly motif. The magic of this brooch gave Shannon the chance that she needed to start her relationship with George. However, before that magic was fully realized, she left it to me. So thanks to the power of this brooch, I gain your affection, milady. That's not true. I started liking you because of my own honest feelings. Thank you very much. You are human, so you do not believe in witches or magic. It's only natural. However, as furniture created by magic, my very existence here is the proof that the miracle of magic exists. Sorry, what are you talking about? Jessica tried to make sense of Canon's words. However, she couldn't understand and had asked him to repeat it wearing a stiff smile. Both Shannon and I need magic to succeed in love. The key for that is this brooch. I stepped on it and crushed it, so we each have one part now. The brooch lost its power when it was split in half. If it was ever joined together again, its magic would be revived. It would revive the miraculous power that could join furniture and human together. However, a single brooch can only grant one person's wish. Only one of us furniture can be joined by this single brooch. That was the final seed of love, a spark of love which the old shrilly laughing Beatrice had sown. The old Beatrice had said that humans, tormented by the spark, were like a ripe fruit which she crudely used for her own enjoyment. However, the magic infused within this seed was real. It was the only crystallization of magic that the golden witch Beatrice ever left in this world. Its glint increased. Huh? What the? It's okay, but please don't look right at it. It'll blind you. The glint grew even stronger, shining like the sun. Even without Canon's warning, Jessica wouldn't have wanted to stop herself from covering her eyes with her own hands. As the light grew stronger, a sound like the roar of the wind or the tide also grew in intensity. The sound of the wind and rain outside had already been overwhelmed. Jessica could no longer even stand as she crouched on the floor. A flood of sound and light. Until it withdrew, Jessica could not do anything but moan. on, it's okay now, let's hurry. I hope Father likes sweet foods. Oh, yes, he does like them. In fact, he seems to enjoy pretty much anything. After waiting for the master of the room to be out, Beato and Kumasawa entered the study. Then they quickly cleaned up the books on the desk and set down the basket they had brought there and opened it up. Inside were several cute cookies cut out in a butterfly shape. They set out a pretty plate and neatly arranged the cookies on it. It was kind of subtle, conscientious touch the recipient wasn't even likely to notice. The whole arrangement was filled with that sort of feeling.
I see you spare no efforts for the sake of your beloved father.
This is the most I'm allowed to do right now.
To think that I would give Balor cookies. Why should I, the ruler of the night, do so, much for a guest who comes so rarely?
Then the study swung violently open. It was Balor with Genji by his side. Balor's eyes went wide for a second when he saw Beato there, but his expression went quickly blank again. What are you doing here? Father, please excuse me. I didn't come here to get in the way of your important game. How were you able to get in here? Wasn't this room locked?
My apologies. They wanted to surprise you with a gift, so I lent them a key.
See, have a look. Beatrice baked these cookies with all of her soul, hoping that you would enjoy them. Kumasawa and Genji taught me how. I never knew Genji was so good at baking cookies. He hasn't done it much of late, but long ago, Genji cooked all sorts of things. He was especially good with sweets. Cookies? Yes, it's a gift for you, Father. I sincerely pray for your victory in this important match. Balor looked at the plate on the study desk that was piled with beautiful cookies and the message cards of encouragement lying next to it. His face twisted with a complex expression, which might have been one of sadness and might have been one of hatred.
Master.
Genji urged him to consider saying some words of gratitude to Beato. Balor understood. Anyone would be pleased to receive an act of kindness like this. Even though he understood it logically, he couldn't help but give a small, exasperated sigh. Thank you. I'm very grateful. However, I don't like sweets. Please take it away. Master! Don't make me say the same thing again. Clean it up and take it away. Master, couldn't you try just one bite? Beatrice worked hard to make them for your sake. I appreciate the sentiment. I'm in the middle of a vital game right now. This is the final game. It's vital for both me and Beato as well. So please, don't mess with my heart any more than is necessary. That's just too sad for her. I'm glad that you're grateful for her feelings, but can't you show it by just taking one little bite? Father. Beato looked at Balor sadly. Balor hung his head to avoid her gaze. My bad, I'm sorry. The expression on his face caused Beato more pain than he had shown her before.
Kumasawa, please clean it up and take it away.
Master! Kumasawa clung to Balor, but he turned his back to her. My apologies. Let's clean this up, Kumasawa. I won't allow it. By making this gift, Beatrice gave it her all to try and support you in the only way she could. To tell her to take it away while eating a bite yourself. How could you trifle a woman so?
Kumasawa.
If you call yourself a man, you should at least try a bite when a woman makes you a handmade snack. If you truly intend to crush a woman's feelings like this, I, Kumasawa, will not back down even if it kills me. No, I won't! Kumasawa, you've done enough for me already. I won't allow it! Master, do you think they're poisoned or something? Yeah, if Beato ever came to me to give cookies, of course I figured she put some kind of crazy poison in them. And she's asking me if I think there's poison in these. Who would expect that cookies piled up in such a neat and cute way could possibly have something bizarre hidden inside them? And anyway, who could possibly imagine Beato making something like this? Because of that, Ballard couldn't bear to look at Beato's innocent reaction, who was just completely free from any of the malicious thoughts like slipping poison into cookies. Beato quietly started to clean up. Every now and then she sniffled. Kumasawa continued to glare at Ballard, but she then gave a small sigh and helped Beato clean up. However, the hardness didn't disappear from her expression. My apologies, Father. Please excuse me. Don't call me that. Don't call me Father. Beato never called me that. Yes, as you wish. My apologies. Hanging her head so low that her chin touched her chest, Beato hurried out of the study. After giving Ballard a look, Kumasawa chased after her. Kumasawa threw the door open a bit violently, and the footsteps of the pair rapidly disappeared off into the distance. That's the first time I've ever seen Kumasawa pissed. Alright, before we continue, why don't we take our own cookie break? I'm going to eat a cookie. I need a cookie too. My cookie break is almost over. Just a couple more moments. Sorry, I looked at something. I'll be back soon. Cookie break is over. Let's continue. I may be his little sister, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. If she were anyone other than Beato, you'd think of him as a true enemy of woman. Is that it? I don't have a clue why Oni-chan and Beato act so friendly together. Right now, I think of Beato as our greatest enemy, and the one we must defeat. Still, even so, as a woman, I can't say I like how Oni-chan's treating her. And yet I can understand Ballard's feelings a little too. What a sad state of affairs. I still don't understand what kind of antagonism or connection there was between them. However, Oni-chan probably viewed Beato as a friendly rival, if not something more. Oni-chan's reason for defeating Beato isn't to destroy an enemy out of hatred. It feels like he wants to give a sincere answer to her questions. Yes, I can't deny the fact that their fight isn't based on hatred, but on a stronger emotion. And on top of that, Beato really is something to remain dedicated to Oni-chan all the more, even after being treated so coldly. I agree with the other older sister Beatrice. I can't understand why she's so dedicated to Oni-chan. And though it will only happen after changing over 1,000 years, that single factor that you don't understand will certainly be inherited by the Golden Witch Beatrice we all know so well. Yeah, I understand that. Learning about this Beato will eventually teach us something about that Beato, and that may be able to explain the greatest piece in this crazy game, if not the game board itself. Such a mysterious witch. Though she said those words, Feathery wore a confident smile on her face, her sarcastic confidence as though she already knew the answer was unchanged. Beatrice, I want to ask you something. Yes, what would you like to know, Angie? When Angie asked her question, Beato, who'd been reading a fragment book in the shadows of the library, jumped. Why do you call Ushiromiya Battle father? Because he created the piece that I am. In that case, why are you so dedicated to Ushiromiya Battle? Is there some rule that pieces must obey the creator that makes them? There is no such rule. A piece is like a tool or perhaps a knife. When used skillfully by the game master, they've been quite useful. However, if you use them incorrectly, they can hurt you as well. Whether a tool is used as a tool or a weapon, that has nothing to do with the tool's own will. It is merely the result. In that case, why are you so dedicated to Oni-chan? It's almost as though that's your goal as a piece. Yes, that's the goal that gave birth to me. Did Oni-chan, the one who gave birth to you, give you that rule? That's not it. As the game master, that's not it. As the game master, Bowler merely set a piece with a rule on that board. Also, the one who gave birth to this piece was the first game master and the one who created this game, Beatrice herself. This is getting confusing. In other words, you keep calling Oni-chan father, but he's not actually your father. You're just calling him that affectionately, because you feel obligated to devote yourself to him. Yes, I think that's true. Father was the one who placed me on the game board. If he hadn't, my piece would have never gotten a turn. So the fact that I exist here right now and am able to devote myself to my goal is all thanks to Father. I see. So that's why it makes sense for you to call him father. In that case, who told you to devote yourself to Oni-chan? That must have been the first Game Master Beato herself. This is so confusing. You wish to ask her why she must devote herself to Ushiromiya Battle, correct? However, she cannot give you that answer. She was given nothing but the goal itself. Only the person who gave her that goal knows the reasons for which they did so. I see. Consider that as well, child of man, right? So, that means you already have an idea, and you're laughing at my confusion. You really are just perfect for my Miko. I will do anything for Father. My existence will bring Father happiness. That is my greatest pleasure. And... At that point, Beato hesitated. And what? Yes. And if I could one day have Father acknowledge my efforts, it would be my greatest joy. What the hell? If you only wanted to devote yourself to him, I'd say you're just another furniture of the witch. But you want him to acknowledge your efforts. That's less like furniture and more like... Angie stopped mid-sentence. That's less like furniture, more like you're just a girl who loves Oni-chan. I don't get it. The driving force behind this Beato is that of a girl who adores Oni-chan. But then, what does that make her? If the first Beato liked Oni-chan, then she should have adored him and devoted herself to him directly. Why would she create a piece of herself, a separate entity to do it? As it stands, even if she does attract Oni-chan's attention, it will be toward the piece version of herself, not the creator who made that piece. If I ever like someone, I'd probably want to do things for them, but of course I'd want to do those things myself. After all, I'd want him to notice me. It's a love that will always go unrewarded, no matter how devoted she is. And she's doing this out of her own free will. Hey, I want you to remember something. In episode 4, what did Beato say near toward the end? Am I not the very embodiment of your ideal woman? Okay, I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to mention that. Okay? I will explain some of the things, because there are some things that I really relate to. Beato's actions look no different from those from an average girl in love. She's devotedly doing all she can for him, dreaming that her kindness will eventually be acknowledged. Why would Beato create a piece like this? Maybe putting it in romantic terms is a bit too confusing. Let's try using food as an example. This would be pointless as creating a piece to eat food for you. No matter how much food your piece eats on your behalf, you won't get any less hungry, right? You're the one who wants to eat. There's no reason to have a piece do that in your place. For most jobs in this world, you can get someone else to do it for you. However, with love and food alone, there can never be any point to letting another person do it in your place. That's right. This Beato was created as a piece because of an impossible reason. Though at a glance she looks like just a normal girl, the more I know about her, the less I understand. Like she's an imaginary number. Father hates it when I call him father, and the me that father desires didn't call him by that name either. Right. The former you spoke to everyone without ever even using honorifics. However, simply possessing that knowledge doesn't mean that I can refer to father quite that informally. I'd like to give it my all and start calling him Balor. I'm surprised you haven't gotten discouraged after being treated so coldly. Sorry, I should have used Balor-san, but I don't use honorifics when I do that. Sorry. But, no. Balor is the middle of an important game right now. His opponent is the formidable Lady Erica, a piece of the great Lady Bernkastel. It's no surprise that he was in a bad mood when I stepped in at a delicate moment in his game, just as it was starting to reach a critical point, and call him by that name he doesn't want to hear. Apparently, Beato still wanted to devote herself to Balor even after being treated in such a cold manner. Though to an outsider, it might look as though she's just being snubbed, it doesn't faze her at all. It truly is the blindness of a girl in love. Or is it that I can't see it because I have no love? At times, love does let you see the unseeable. Beato once again immersed herself in the fragment book that the former Beato had written. She was trying to find something about the Beato that Balor desired. Angie shrugged as though saying, "Well, I don't get it." Feathering laughed when she saw this, hinting that an innocent young woman wouldn't understand. Angie grumbled something back unhappily. Their exchange seemed to have no effect whatsoever on Beato as she sat in the shadows of the library. After chasing all the others out, only Balor remained the study. There was no color in this dimly lit room. However, for just a short time, the plate of cookies had been placed there. The room at least had a little cheery scenery. Balor's gaze drifted over to the table, which no longer had anything on it. When he did, the cookie plate that had been there until a second ago was revived. However, it was an illusion. Though the cookies could be looked at, they could not be touched, much less eaten. If Balor wished, he could make it possible to touch them or eat them, but it would be an empty sensation. It would only give the touch and taste that Balor desired. He had no longer any way of knowing what kind of cookies they had been. On the reception sofa across from Balor, a cloud of gold butterflies slowly gathered and took the form of the old Beto.
Come on, have a bite. It's not every day that I make these by hand. Have no fear, I am confident in how well they've turned out.
Hearing that from a lady makes them all more dubious. Seriously, any cookies you made would obviously have some kind of strange poison in them.
How shocking that you would think so. Even if I did put something in, it'd be no more than the kind that does this and that to your other thing.
If you do that sort of thing all the time, Balor will never agree to eat them. Huh. Putting things in someone's food is pretty basic, isn't it? Fingernails, bits of hair, magic charms, fragments of love. What would you people put in? Yes, ma'am! I wouldn't put anything in them. I'd just eat them all myself!
Obviously, do you have to be so predictable?
Well, if they say a girl's gotta grab all three snacks. Well, they say that girls gotta grab all but 3 sacks. First one's the stomach, right? Next comes the wallet, and what was the third one again?
If I could catch a guy's attention, I want to make him sacrifice his body, heart, and soul to me. That's why I pour all my power and affection into my cooking. In any event, making someone eat your food is probably a frontal attack that has gone unchanged throughout the ages. Ridiculous! How pathetic to think that you couldn't grasp a single man's heart without relying on such simple tricks.
Oh? Are you saying you succeed in grasping a man's heart, One-sama?
Battler, there's nothing weird in it, so have a bite. Don't think you'll ever get a chance to eat my handmade cookies again.
There probably won't be another chance. I slowly stretched my hand out to the illusion of the cookie plate and touched it. Just before I did, it became a cloud of gold butterflies and vanished into the darkness of the study. The illusions of Renove and Virgilia also disappeared. However, the illusion of Beto alone still remained on the sofa.
Is there something not to your liking?
Are you trying to force me to say it out loud? Okay, this part I believe is called Dearest or something? I forget. My bad.
The more the new me differs from the form you wish for, the more you're reminded that I can never be revived again. Correct? If you let a good woman get away, you never get a second chance. So only now you finally realize what a good woman I was.
Shut up! If you never appear again, that'd be a relief! Beto lay sprawled on the sofa and looked up at the ceiling. Balor also turned his back and moved to the window. For a while there was a silence.
I imagine you understand, but I do understand. The me that you were expecting has already disappeared.
I know. Even though that Beto is you without a doubt, she's a different being than the old you. And I can say with certainty that you'll never revive again.
My soul, femininity, sparkling personality, and splendid character were cultivated over 1,000 years spent as a witch. Unless an exactly identical 1,000 years is traversed, nothing can become me. And so at the moment you decided to create me, my personal history was different.
Yeah, that damn burnt castle's already guaranteed that you'll never revive.
However, you still hope for it, don't you? One day the new me will trip and land on her head, and all her memories of the past will be restored. You were hoping for something like that, weren't you? A delusional plot like that wouldn't even pass in a light novel these days.
Shut up! In the past you also, you waited and waited for me to remember and take notice. Then what is it? Does this mean that our relationship is exactly the opposite of how it once was?
Well, at times I did continue the game believing that you would eventually notice and remember that a miracle would occur.
How did it feel? How did it feel when you were playing with me?
As they say, look inside your own heart.
It hurts. If only she didn't look so much like you. I could have kept my cool a little better.
Well, do as you wish. In the past I toyed with you and tormented you. Now's your chance to revenge against me. The new me will just wander about nervously, ignorant of everything. You may boil or burn her as you see fit. Perhaps doing so will ease your old hatred.
I would if it was you. It'd probably make me feel a lot better. But that Beato isn't you.
If it isn't me, who is it?
It's someone very much like you, but not you.
But even so, she most certainly is me.
True, she is you. And at the same time, she's a different person.
In that case, the new me really has it rough. She's being treated like a plaything in my place. How truly pitiable.
That might be the contradiction inside me. The new Beato seems like a different person, so I can't accept her. Even though I know she's a different person, she keeps reminding me of Beato's face.
In that case, why not think of her as my daughter?
Your daughter?
She does share my blood, so consider her a daughter that closely resembles me. After all, she is my double, but hasn't lived 1,000 years, so calling her that is not incongruous.
True.
Imagine that I have died, left behind a daughter, and entrusted her to you. Won't it become a little easier to deal with her that way?
That's actually a good analogy. It's unlike you. That's actually a good analogy. It's unlike you.
Do not jest. That is my daughter. She is the child I left behind after my death. You are free to press my likeness upon her. You may also let loose your pent-up resentment on her in my place, making her bear my sins and torturing her as you please, if that would calm your grudge. If that doesn't match your taste, you can also guide her down the right path so she does not end up on the same inhumane road that I have tread. She was made to devote herself to you since the moment of her birth. If you wish, you can mold her into any shape you desire. After 1,000 years of miracles, she might even become me.
So I could even strip her naked and drag her around a train like you did to me once.
Yes, at this point, even greater humiliation would be possible.
So, she is your double, and your daughter. Yes, she's exactly the same person, the same piece, which she's created once more by the rule called Beatrice. However, when I'm unable to accept it that way, I can think of her as Beato's daughter, finding a clear guidepost for how to interact with her and the smooth uncertainty in my heart. Finally, I understand how cruel I was to her then. My tears poured to the ground, and when I followed them with my eyes, I noticed that a white business card had fallen onto the floor. It was the message card that had adorned those cookies. I rushed her, telling her to clean it up and leave right away, which is probably why it had fallen to the floor unnoticed. I picked it up and read the message on it. It was extremely short, pure, and sincere. It's so clear that I should have been able to read it. However, It's blurred with tears, and I can't see anything. Also, for those who are familiar with Higurashi, oh yeah, Dearest, the other song that plays before Thank You for Being Born, also, I believe it's like a kind of a reprisal or remix for Birth and Death. I forget if that's actually what it's called. I forget. My apologies for the Umineko track. Anyway, the flood of light and sound slowly dissipated. The silence that followed was not interrupted even by the sound of wind and rain outside that had once been present. Both Jessica and George timidly opened their eyes. Where in the world is this? It was a strange room they had never seen before. It looked like a Western-style smoking room. Its furnishings were stylish and expensive. It felt like the room of some dignified person. There was also a set of black tea on the table, as well as a chessboard which seemed to be halfway through a game. However, there was something strangely out of place. The black and white checkerboard pattern made it feel like chess, but it looked like a similar yet totally different game that no one knew of. And similar to how it looked like chess and not like chess, the furnishings of this room, no, the room itself, though it seemed like a Western smoking room, it also felt like something completely different. Just where is this place? Jessica and Canon. And Shannon. Where's Shannon? I'm right here, George. And I am here. Milady, George, we apologize for bringing you to a place like this. What on earth is going on? Just when did Shannon took out something that looked like a butterfly wing and it started shining? The same thing happened to me. Canon took out this gold butterfly brooch thing and it started sparkling. Milady, George, first off, please allow us to apologize, and please stay calm. Something strange is about to happen. That strange thing will probably test us. Test us? Do you mean that trial you were just talking about? That we have to overcome it if we want to be together? Is that it? A trial? I haven't explained it to you yet, milady. My apologies. But please, if your words just a second ago were the truth, please lend me your strength. I will give it everything I've got, so please. I don't understand a thing that's been happening. Do you know something, George? A bit. I'm just as surprised as you by what's happening now. However, if they're saying that this is an unavoidable trial and that we're essential for it, I intend to take on whatever may come. A trial? Canon, the brooch. Yeah. Sorry, I if you haven't noticed, I don't know if I should say it as brooch or brooch. My bad. The two of them brought the halves of the golden butterfly brooch together. As they grew closer, the strength of their bright yellow radiance increased. Jessica, I want you to prepare your heart as well. I am already prepared. What do you mean? I don't have a clue. What the hell's going on? It's a trial. A test for a pair of those who love each other. Huh? George spoke these awkwardly seeming words quickly and easily. It was such an embarrassing line that Jessica couldn't help but turn red. But the expression on George's face was so serious it was almost grim and forced her to tense up as well. Shannon and Canon were just as serious. With a glow in their eyes as though they were taking part in a sacred duel, the pair of them brought the two gold butterflies together. The wings they had held became a single brooch, and regained their magical power. An even more intense light filled the room, and the scene was burned into the retinas of all present. As the brooch shattered, and two shattering things flew out of it. Here we go.
People live for the sake of love. Yes, this world is love itself.
Oh, how great is the power of love! Love is everything there is! Suddenly, the voices of two people they had never heard before rang out. What was it? Who were they? George and Jessica nervously opened their eyes. When they did, they saw the two demons that appeared there. almost as though the two halves of the brooch had become them. And they're both, this song is called Love Examination, I believe? I forget. Sorry if I don't remember. There's also like a fan-made song of this one. I forget what that one is, but if you search up Zepar and Furfur's like character or image song or something, surely you will find it.
Hey, that's weird, Furfur! What are we doing in a place like this?
It really is strange, Zepar! There's no one but humans and furniture here! Where's the witch? Where's the witch capable of summoning us?
Yes, we remember the name of the witch of the contract really well, don't we? Let's try calling it out, Furfur!
Yes, you're right, Zepar! We know the name of the witch of the contract, the Golden Witch!
Then let's try calling her!
Beatrice! Considering their exaggerated, theatrical manner and their slightly comical style of talking, it'd probably be hard to comprehend their great power at this point. When the two demons called Beatrice's name, a cyclone of gold butterflies picked up throughout the room. Then it took the form of two golden witches. Oh! There are two Beatrices!
Well, there are two of us as well. Why shouldn't there be two Beatrices every now and then? This is my double and my little sister. We two are the same and a single person.
Pleased to meet you. It's been a long time, Beatrice. Am I dreaming? I feel the same. Still, it's too early to get dumbfounded. Unlike Jessica, and George has maintained his composure even during this bizarre scene. After all, Shannon had already told him what would happen next.
Demons of the contract, it has been too long. Zepar. And you too, Furfur. Ah, long time no see. You seem to be in high spirits as always.
But what a cute little sister you have! I bet those teary, juicy eyes taste like white peaches. Well, I wonder... Zepar and Furfur latched onto Beto from either side, wearing strange smiles. Each movement they made was exaggerated, yet polished, as though they were acting out a play.
Leave it at that for now, demons of the contract. To think that tonight will be the last time we see that mischievous spirit. It will be dearly missed.
The last time?
The brooch, our vessel, has already been destroyed.
In other words, our role is finished after this. Ah, yes. It has been fun, Beatrice.
However, it was the side where the contract was made. It was decided that we must lend our power once more, time before our final farewell.
So this is truly the final miracle.
Once is enough for the miracle of love. After all, eternal love will never be needed a second time. There you have it. Lovers. Those gathered here have been cursed to have unfulfilled love unless a miracle occurs. Your last chance is the power of the golden butterfly brooch, which can grant such a miracle, and like it or not, this chance is limited to this evening. This miracle can only be given to a single pair. I won't lose.
Yeah. Let's both give it our all. Shano and Kano exchanged serious gazes. Both had already readied themselves to fight for the sake of their love. I don't really get it, but I don't want to borrow the power of some strange demon. Jessica was finally starting to figure this place out. These demons were probably planning to pit her and Kano against George and Shannon. Let me be clear, this is none of your business. Kano and I can handle our relationship by ourselves. I shouldn't have to put myself in the den with some bizarre demons. Milady, please listen. If we don't overcome this trial, we cannot be together.
Jessica, accept it. This is the only trial that could possibly be imposed on the upstart furniture wishing to be joined with a human.
More of this stuff about furniture and humans! Don't butt in! This has nothing to do with us! You still haven't told Milady.
I didn't know how I should explain it. Shannon! You and George! Why are you listening to these creeps? No one can stand in the way of a person's love. Why do we have to please these demons? It's none of their business. Well, it seems we have quite a troublesome blockhead among us. We could begin the game like this, but that would hardly be fair.
Couldn't you explain it for her? I don't understand it well myself. Is there some kind of problem with the love between Jessica and Canon?
Oh my! It seems that you and the others understand nothing at all!
With our blessing, the pair can cultivate their love at their leisure. No need to worry about suspicious demons.
However, without our blessing, your love will vanish, disappear, wither, and decay. How the hell are you so sure? Because that is fate! You are free to choose not to accept it, free to choose not to resist it.
Oh, and what happens if you choose not to resist it?
That love will end, but perhaps an abstract explanation isn't so convincing. Well now, how could one explain the dead-end fate you're in? Ushirumi and Jessica, a future shared between the two of you, will be far more grim than you realize.
If you don't gain the miracle of magic, disaster will most certainly befall you.
Then it will cover you, fester within, and split the two of you apart. Even I will not be so boorish as to describe the details of that process. However, if you don't believe Jessica, I will tell you how it ends. Canon would stop being a servant, and will leave the island, for all eternity. You will probably leave the island yourself in search of the one you love, but such a venture will doubtless be in vain.
Yes, but then you will mourn and hate.
Hate who?
You!
Me?
No! The you of this moment!
With a dramatic gesture, the two of them pointed at Jessica. They were saying if she left, the person left with regrets would be Jessica herself. What the hell are you saying?
When you've lost the one you love, you'll realize how much you hate the person you were when you ran away from the trial to complete that love.
Yes, we're messengers of the you of the future. Please, at this very moment, take your love seriously and fight.
And if you don't listen to the message of the you from the future,
the foolish snake eating its own tail will keep on gulping. The endless cycle of suffering will swallow you up, and you will simply vanish.
What the hell are you talking about? Jessica's confusion showed in her face as anger. However, a memory of something she heard a long time ago welled up in the back of her mind. Unlike Nason, I don't plan on working here for many years. Just after a few years, or possibly. If Nason ever decides to stop working here, I think I'll stop working too. Canon.
If you give up on the miracle of magic and hand it over to Shannon and George, they will be joined and leave the island. Following that, Canon will leave the island as well. That is fate, and unavoidable.
Then what if they obtain the miracle of magic?
Of course, Canon will remain on the island by Jessica's side for all time. He will probably start learning music with Jessica as she desires. How their relationship will progress afterwards is a matter for the two lovers. They can deepen their relationship slowly all by themselves as Jessica wanted.
However, if that happens, George and I will not be joined.
Fate demands that we fight, putting our happiness and futures on the line.
Are you kidding me? What the hell? So if we are joined, the other pair will split apart? What kind of demon's game is this?
Don't be mistaken. You will not be taking something from each other. Without the power of the golden butterfly brooch, neither love is fated to bear fruit.
And who the hell decided that?
It is due to your sin of falling in love with Berger, which is not allowed due to love. Didn't Canon clearly reject you, saying that Virgil was not qualified to love, knowing that you chose Canon as the one you loved? I won't let you get away with saying that you didn't know.
Although she couldn't accept any of it, Jessica wasn't able to argue back. Then George spoke up with that soft tone he always used to smooth things over. However, his expression was still ruthlessly serious. Jessica, can't you think of it this way? Think of it what way? I love Shannon. I am prepared to overcome any and all trials and obstacles that stand in the way of us being together. What about you? Well, I'm not so weak that I'd lose heart that easily. Yes, that's it exactly. At this moment, we are being tested. Tested to see who can display the strength of our feelings more strongly. Are you saying that you actually support this crazy plan of theirs? It doesn't matter whether I support it or not. When I gave Shannon that engagement ring, I swore to fight all trials and barriers that stand in my way. No matter how unreasonable or incomprehensible these trials might be, I cannot choose to avoid them. George spoke clearly and looked at Jessica with a cold gaze. By now, Jessica almost understood. If she kept on grumbling and avoiding this demon's trial, the game between the two groups would automatically end with her defeat by default. In other words, George and Shannon would win. Then they would gain the miracle of magic, their love would be completed, and Jessica and Canon would be split apart, with Canon eventually leaving the island and never seeing her again. Nothing would make me happier than to see you step out of this trial. That way I wouldn't have to fight you. And that would show the limits of your feelings for Canon. It seems as though George spoke ruthlessly, but he was actually being exceptionally fair. If Jessica lost by default, she would never be able to clear away her lingering regrets. That would leave a bad aftertaste for George as well. We must fight openly for that single miracle. Even if I lose at the end, I'll be able to accept it if we both give it our all. And because of that, I'll be able to cheer on the victors from the bottom of my heart.
George's determination is quite impressive.
After hearing that,
are you still going to run away?
The two demons giggled and challenged her. Of course, George didn't laugh, but he still challenged her with cold eyes. And Shannon? Please forgive me, milady. I'm determined not to flinch in my resolve. Even if I know that sticking to my feelings means ending your loving relationship, milady. Shannon had never spoken to Jessica with such serious and solemn words. Jessica realized what strong will had dwelt within her, usually weak and clumsy friend, and was surprised. Canon, I want to start a new life with you, milady. Even if that life means crushing Nissan's happiness, I will not falter. Canon was also doing all he could to restrain himself. Yes, all of them were being serious and frank, and abandoning any naivety they might have possessed. All this about golden butterfly brooches and the miracles of magic, the trial that the demons were giving them, none of it mattered. Only one thing was being tested, whether or not they possessed a strong will to make their love come true. Jessica clenched her fists and hung her head, shaking while biting her lower lip. She was silent, but she would probably gain an unswerving will of steel before too long. She just needed a little time first. The two demons who taunted people with dramatic gestures did not violate the silence that Jessica needed to resolve herself. Love brings about conflict, and this conflict gives rise to determination. As the demons of love, they could understand more fully than any of the others how noble that determination was. Jessica.
Furthermore, this magical miracle is something that can be received by you as well.
By me too? What do you mean? She had thought this had been about two pairs of lovers. Beato was surprised to suddenly hear that this had something to do with her as well.
With the miracle of the golden butterfly brooch, even your wish that your affection for Balor will be acknowledged, can be granted easily. And without such a miracle, You too can never be bound to him. It means you're no outsider to this either.
To cut across the marshes of love! That is your wish, is it not?
We will not make light of your wish. Even your relationship with Balor will eventually fester and rot, no matter how much of a positive outlook you take. You know that this fate will eventually come to pass, barring some kind of miracle.
Well, Beato hung her head sadly. She hadn't wanted to lose heart from the cookie incident. However, it would have been a massive lie to say that it hadn't hurt her. The more she tried to get close to Balor, the more she hurt him. However, she had been born in order to get close to Balor. She was like a hedgehog freezing in the cold and bunching together for warmth. She had approached him because of love and had been hurt for it.
If you understand that much, entrusting your fate to a miracle may prove to be of some interest. As they say, an unbought lottery ticket earns you nothing. Zepar! Furfur! Let my little sister join in too.
Oh, of course! Welcome, Second Beatrice! We were planning on including you from the very beginning! After all, we are Zepar and Furfur, the demons of love! May I join in as well? If you want to, I don't see a problem. I won't prevent anyone from entering. We'll win against all hindrances and make everyone celebrate our union. Of course, it's the same the other way around. If you succeed in love by defeating us at our best, and both Shannon and I promise to sincerely support the pair that wins. Right, Shannon? Yes, we will not lose. And even if we did, we would cheer you on from the bottom of our hearts. I feel the same. I will not lose. Well, if there's no way out of this fight, let's show them what we've got. No matter what, Kano and I don't plan on losing.
You feel the same, do you not?
Yes. If there's even a small chance that Father... no. That Balor will acknowledge me, I'm willing to put myself on that line.
Well said. Good going, little sister. Zepar! Furfur! The actors have gathered. Then let's begin, Furfur.
Yes, let us begin, Zepar!
Let's begin this trial of lovers, the fight over a single miracle of magic.
Sorry, I kind of try to blend their voices in between. It's kind of good that one of them, that in the thing, it was interpreted with Zepar having a lower voice than Furfur. So like, I mixed it in. I try to go with a neutral voice because I can't voice myself twice. Okay, now. Let's, what is it? Read these. Furfur. One of the 72 great demons, controls love and tests others through trials. Furfur bestows endless, inexhaustible offensive power upon the maker of the contract, giving them enough courage to fiercely overcome any barriers to their love. A trainer of love who teaches tame boys the taste of flesh is of a different gender than Zepar. Zepar! One of the 72 great demons controls love and tests others through trials. Zepar bestows an ultimate defensive bearer of immortality upon the maker of the contract, giving them enough courage to unflinchingly face any wounds love might cause. A hunter of love who likes and preys upon tame boys is of a different gender than Furfur. Huh. Interesting how it's ambiguous. They don't tell you. Anything else? All right.